Hey everyone, it's Caleb Guilliams here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm here with Jake Randall, the CEO and founder of a company called Taxbot. They're an app company. You should definitely check them out. They have a lot of great resources. And the reason for this video is I want to break down quickly the PPP, the new information that we came out with that, and just kind of give a high-level overview. There's quite a few business owners that watch this channel, and this would be a good overview to just see what's currently going on and some of the changes that you definitely need to know about.
Yeah, so I mean, the Congress passed and the president signed some new legislation that changed a little bit of the, criteria around the PPP loan, the payroll or Paycheck Protection Program. Before, they were basically going to give you 8 weeks to spend the money, but it was kind of interesting because the way that you applied for the money is they gave you basically 10 weeks of funding, but you could only but you had to spend it in 8 weeks in order to get it forgiven. And so for a lot of people, it was really hard to spend that money, or there was a portion of that that was automatically going to roll over into a loan, albeit a very cheap loan, right? But a portion of it was going to go into this loan. Anyway, and they changed a few things. So now, instead of having to spend that in 8 weeks, you can spend that over 24 weeks.
Which is huge.
Which means that you're going to be able to, most people, I can't think of a single person who wouldn't be able to make sure that they spend that on the right stuff to get it all forgiven now at that point. So if you were worried about like the loan and not getting the whole thing forgiven, you've got plenty of time now to spend that. They also changed the rule on how much needs to be spent on employment or on payroll. Before it was, you had to spend 75% of the money on payroll. Otherwise you didn't get it forgiven. But they've dropped that down to 60%. So you can use the money to pay for, like, especially businesses that can't really hire the employees back and things like that. They can write off the bigger portions of their stuff, that like the rent and things like that. That mortgage utility, it's rent, mortgage insurance, utilities, and payroll. Those are the 4 approved categories. But if for those other ones that are outside of payroll, if you have a big rent but you don't have employees or something, like let's say you're a distribution company or something, then you can make that work now. It's much easier to qualify.
Right now, is there access? Can people get loans, or is it essentially the money's all run out?
So the PPP, there's actually, I just checked the SBA website yesterday, and they're spending, and like it's getting smaller, right? Okay. The money that's available. Most big banks are not lending anymore on it, but there are a lot of small banks that still are taking applications. So they haven't announced that it's out of money yet. But as of a couple weeks ago, I think they'd given out like 70% of the money. Last time I checked. So it is but the loan size is getting smaller. So all the people that rushed in got their money, and now there's still some stuff to lend. So if you haven't got it, still go apply.
But the big news here is the terms are a lot longer, and you can use the money. You don't have to use. They're giving you.
It's more liberal.
They're more liberal on what you can use your money on, and so good news for those of you that have loans. I know that there were a couple of my clients that had it. We're a little bit nervous about the fine print, and it seems like it's going to be more in our favor. Also, it's interesting that the government can change rules. And in this case, it's beneficial, but it's a good reminder that just like they can change a rule in your favor, they can change a rule that's not in your favor with the sign of the pen.
Do you want to talk about the EIDL loans real quick?
Yeah, I would love to.
So a lot of people applied for the EIDL loans, which is basically the misinformation talking about changing. Like, it was pitched as this: you're going to get $10,000 in a free grant, right? The government then changed that, or the SBA changed that after the fact, to $1,000 per employee as a grant, up to $10,000. So they kind of interpreted it however they wanted to. And I think that was probably the right move, because so many people were applying for that money. But now they've restricted that. New applications you can't do unless you're an agricultural business. So unless you're an agricultural, like, you can't really apply anymore. But all of those loans that were, or those loans that were started way back in, April or whatever, are working themselves through the system. And so a lot of people are right now getting they maybe got the $1,000 or whatever, but now they're getting the opportunity to get those loans. And it's crazy because those loans, for most people, they're not doing like any income verification other than what you told them, how you verbally told them how much you made in sales, or not verbally, but on your website initially, how much you made in sales and what your gross profit was, and they're giving you a loan.
And can people apply for that if they've already done the PPP?
So you're supposed to only be able to get one or the other.
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't go with the PPP, especially if you're a solopreneur or something, because they weren't sure
Yep.
how that would work. And unfortunately, you can't apply now. But if you did apply, there is that money coming down. And that's really cheap money, and it's starting to get funded. Those applications are starting. I was one of the first, and I just got my applications in the last couple of days.
Wow.
And so those are starting to roll out, and it's really cheap money. And honestly, I cannot believe that they're not asking you to provide like an income statement.
This is one of the greatest times to access cheap money. I call it cost of capital in my book. And it's like if you can put that money to work for something, for an activity, for an investment, for something that will get you a greater result than 3%, 4%, 5%, it's a no-brainer. And the kind of upside that some people are going to get in how they use their money is going to be incredible.
And it's crazy because technically, like that loan initially in the legislation was meant for fixed costs to help people get through some time period, but there's no way for them to track that. It's kind of loosey-goosey, and they're just like, you sign this contract that says, I'm going to try to buy products made in America, if possible, right? There's all these like weird stipulations that are not enforceable or that there's no way to enforce. And so it's kind of just a weird time applying for that money.
All right, well, thank you so much for watching. If you want more updates, and we're coming out with a lot of content either on my podcast, and just other content as it relates to money, you can hit the subscribe button. Hitting the like button also helps people see this video. Jake, thank you so much for the update.
Pleasure.
Have a great rest of your day.